Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am out for my daily walk in Meshomaquett, I think that's the name of it, State Forest here in Connecticut. This is the Meshomaquett Brook. Actually looks like quite a small river to me, not just a little brook. Pretty nice place. I hope the sound of the brook isn't drowning me out as I talk. Got a little hemlock grove up here. So today I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind for the last few weeks. I put together a video a few days ago about how a friend of mine was staying with me for a few weeks, and having him around, he's Brazilian and cooks a lot, delicious Brazilian food, how it was throwing me off my game with a carnivore diet. He would use ingredients that weren't carnivore, and sometimes I wouldn't realize it. Part of it was also because there was so much really good food around that I found myself eating it in spite of myself. He's gone home to Brazil, and for the last week I've been going hardcore again on my diet. I feel so much better. Anytime I ever find myself off the carnivore diet, I always start feeling achy, tired, brain fog, and I really felt that a couple weeks ago. So this is a healthier way of living, and it's much better for me. Meat only. It's a beautiful spot here. This is somewhere between Hartford and Providence, probably about halfway. I've been trying to rotate my walks around the state of Connecticut and upstate New York for the last couple months, and I plan to do so through the summer. Explore new places, get out hiking whenever I can. It's something I love to do, and it really helps me to keep in shape. I try to go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, but to be honest, it bores me, and I never get sick of going out for a hike. So back to what I was talking about. I can't bring in non-carnivore food into my carnivore diet. I know that a lot of people out there like to have cheat days once every week, once every 2 weeks, and they seem to be able to handle that no problem, but it doesn't work for me. When I do that, the next day I wake up with brain fog and cravings like you wouldn't believe. I just want something with carbs in it more than you can imagine. Sometimes I'll give in and get myself some kefir or raw milk, which I think is healthy, but it does have a lot of carbohydrates with the lactose. And sometimes I would even, with my friend around and lots of carbohydrate-rich food in the kitchen, I would even give in and eat something that I really shouldn't have eaten, like a piece of baklava or something. So for me, really, I'm learning that it's like a switch for me. I have some kind of weird addiction to carbohydrates. I don't think everybody out there has this addiction, but I do. And if I have a few carbohydrates, I will end up eating more carbohydrates. It's a craving and an addiction, and it's not an easy one to control. I can go cold turkey, no problem. I've gotten used to the carnivore diet, I like it, so when it really comes down to it, it's easy for me to just stop and have no carbohydrates at all. But if I do have carbs, then I want more, and it really isn't that pleasant a feeling. It's kind of a distraction, actually, and I don't get as much done. I'm not as focused in my daily life. Ooh, I thought this was going to be sturdier than it is. It kind of bounces around. I'll keep walking till I find a good place to sit. It's not as easy to walk and talk at the same time as you would think. Right here the ground is pretty smooth, but before there were roots and things, and it was a little bit hazardous. I just love hiking and finding new spots. And now that the weather is getting better, really enjoying it. This summer I'm going to try to get out and camp more. Maybe even go backpacking. Now that I've lost 70 pounds, I can put 50 pounds on my back and climb a mountain without busting my knees like I would have in the past. And hopefully, now that I'm really back on the carnivore diet again, I can lose another 25 or 30 pounds by August and be in really good shape. Wow, look at all the fungus on this tree. And there's some turkey tail mushrooms. Those are some pretty cool mushrooms. I wonder what these are. Kind of hard. If anyone knows what those are, please leave a comment in the comment section. I'd love to know. I think if I ever do eat anything non-carnivore, it's going to be mushrooms. They say that mushrooms aren't truly a plant. They're not an animal, certainly, but they're not truly a plant either. They're like a whole other category of existence. I love them. Some mushrooms cooked with butter, put on ground beef. Once I hit my target weight, that might be something that I would do. Looks like we're coming to the edge of the state forest here. I see some fields around us, so this may be the end of the walk. I had actually walked a couple miles before I turned on the camera, so I have gone a good distance. Looks like a cornfield over there. Eastern Connecticut has some rich farmland, as opposed to other parts of the state where it was very rocky and cold. All right, posted, private property. Hunting, fishing, trapping, or trespassing for any purpose is strictly forbidden. Well, I guess that's the end of my walk. If you like your property, please respect ours. Yeah, they have a point there. And they ask nicely too. Let's see if I can find a nice photogenic place by the water. To sit down and say my piece about the difficulties of staying on the carnivore diet and why I think it's important to just stick with it and not cheat. So like I was saying, it's very easy for me to get off the carnivore diet. Other people seem to have the ability to have a cheat day, and then they do fine. They just get right back on the carnivore diet. They keep losing weight, but not me. It hasn't worked that way. I had my month in India where I went off carnivore and I gained about 5 pounds and I felt like crap by the end of that month. And then over the last 3 weeks, same thing. I wasn't able to just have a cheat once every week, and I gained 5 pounds again and felt like crap. So here I am, back on the carnivore diet. 7 months, I'm about 9 months into it now. I've lost 70 pounds, which is great, but I need to really stick with it. And I have a goal weight that I want to get down to, 200. I have about 40 pounds to go, and I would like to do it by the end of the summer. So that's my goal. I have no excuse now. I don't have company. I don't have anyone coming to visit for the next 3 months. I have the house to myself, the kitchen to myself. I don't have to deal with anybody else's grocery shopping or trying to cook me carbohydrate-rich meals. I get invited out sometimes to eat or over to people's houses, but I'm just going to bring my own food if that happens, if I go to people's houses for dinner. And I'll probably decline any invites for restaurants unless it's a restaurant that I think I can do a carnivore meal in. I really don't have anybody to put this on except myself. You know, people can want me to do what they want me to do, but ultimately it's my choice. It's really, I thought this was going to be kind of a temporary thing. I would do the carnivore diet for 6 months or a year, reach my goal weight, and then come off of it. But given how things are going with it, I'm seeing that I might want to just stay on carnivore. I don't know that it's possible, at least for me with my carbohydrate addiction, to be on carnivore 90% of the time and then having cheat days 10% of the time. That would be, you know, in 1 month there's 30 days, that would be 3 days of cheating. what's the point if I can only cheat for 3 days and I'm still running into problems with it? A cheat day for me brings cravings the next day, and likely cheat the next day, likely cheat the next day, and for what? I'm just sort of poking at the addiction, so to speak. There's people out there who have addictions to alcohol. We call them alcoholics. There's people out there who have addictions to plenty of other drugs. I've never had that. I had a period in my life where I drank probably more than I should, but I knew my limit and I never went past it. I had probably had hangovers 2 or 3 times in my life. What it was more was medicating myself, and I think it was the sugar and the carbs and the beer and the wine that I was drinking. It wasn't the alcohol. It was getting that steady flow of carbohydrates. And I wonder how many alcoholics are really sugar addicts without realizing it. You know, we have that need for sugar, and if you're not eating sugar in other forms and you have that addiction, alcohol is a very good form in which to get those carbohydrates, those empty carbohydrates. So, I don't know, but it makes sense for me. And stopping with carbohydrates is very much like, mentally, very much like stopping alcohol was for me in the past. It wasn't some horrible earth-shaking craving that I just couldn't stand to be without it. It wasn't even like I really wanted to get drunk, but there's this deep, deep feeling of satiation. Satiety, is that the word? When you're sated? That I get if I have a carbohydrate-rich meal and a nice sweet dessert and another dessert when I get home. Nothing else can replace that feeling. But it's totally fake. It is satisfying for about 2 hours. Then I wake up the next morning, I feel foggy, have a headache. Nothing can quite bring that feeling back until the next night when I have the craving for another carbohydrate-rich meal. I know where that brings me. 50, 60, 70 pounds, 100 pounds overweight, sore knees, sore joints, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. I can't do that. I'm going deep in my own personal experience with this stuff now, but if you listen to me, you may find that my words are hitting you too and hitting some of your own cravings, and you're here for a reason. You're not listening to me because you're in great shape. You're at this channel because you're probably having difficulties with carbohydrates too. So hopefully by talking about some of what I've been going through with this, it helps you to see some of your habitual patterns, some of your issues around food, and hopefully free yourself from them. It's not so hard to do. It's been a week since I had carbs and I'm feeling great now. I'm right back onto my carnivore diet, back to my intermittent fasting. I've lost the 5 pounds that I gained. I'm back down to where I was at the best point before I went to India. I'm back on track. A cheat day or falling off the carnivore diet doesn't have to be the end of this. You know, if you have cheated and you find yourself craving again, just get back on the carnivore diet, learn from your mistake, and try not to do it again. But if I realize I have an addiction and I've got to nip it in the bud anytime it comes up, I think I'll be okay. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Helps me get the message out to other people about the carnivore diet, about healthy living. And if you're interested in more information like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. So long.